Hey guys, Crystal here at Crystal's Crafties. Today I'm going to show you how to make a super cute and super easy wreath. And you can do this in about 25 minutes or less. And it didn't cost me more than like $15 for all of the stuff. The wire wreath, this is a 12-inch frame. This was like $2. For a 12-inch frame, you're going to need 30 feet of the burlap. This was $5 at Walmart. Then this extra ribbon, I just have this already. I got it for half off at Hobby Lobby, so it was only $5. But I'm not going to use all of this. This is just to make the bow. And then these little extra thingies I also got for half off at Hobby Lobby. They were $2.99 full price. And I'm not even going to use all of these. I'm just going to peel off some of these little bits to put on, and you'll see how that works out. So yeah, it's super quick, super easy, and super cheap. All the supers. Let's get started. So I'm going to take this off of here because we don't need that. Okay. If you want to do a bigger one, this is pretty small. It's the 12-inch. It's the smallest you can get. If you want to do a bigger one, you're going to need 45 feet of the burlap. So you'll want to get 2 of these big 30 feet, or a big one and a smaller one of just 15 feet. Oh, so you need all of this, but you also will need some wire cutters if you're putting this kind of stuff on. If you don't want to put these little wire pick stem things on, you don't need wire cutters. You're going to need some little zip ties. And again, if you're putting extra things on other than just the burlap and the bow, if you're putting this kind of extra finishes on, you'll need a glue gun. Let's see. Okay, so to start, you need to prepare your burlap. I'm going to cut off all this ugly at the end. And just get a clean edge to start with. Take one of your little zip ties, and it doesn't matter, you can have bigger zip ties. I wouldn't get smaller, these are 4-inch. You can have green, black, clear, red, purple, whatever, doesn't matter. Okay, so you want to pull out some burlap and just kind of cinch it together like this. So you've just got a piece of it, a chunk of it all together. So it's all bunched up. You're going to take a zip tie and you're going to send it through all of the layers that you just bunched. And this is how we're going to secure the burlap onto the wreath frame. Okay, take your wreath frame, turn it upside down. When it's right side up, it's going to be sticking up a little bit. It's got some raised portions. The center, can you all see this? Well, right here, these center bars are raised up. When it's upside down, the center bars are flat down on your surface. So you want to turn it upside down, and then you want to connect it to this crossbar on the back of your wreath frame. So I've got my burlap here, it's on the back. I put it on the back of my wreath frame at the crossbar. And I'm just going to secure my zip tie to it. Swear this fly. Okay. So you see I've got it wrapped around. Is that in frame? Yeah. Tighten it down. And now my burlap is connected to my wreath frame with a zip tie, and I can cut off the extra. You can cut this off with a scissor, but since I happen to have my wire snippers, I will use them. Okay, now we're going to turn our wreath frame back right side up, and we are going to start poking the burlap through. I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going to push burlap in until I get one row of burlap. So there it is. Scooch this over, come into the middle push some more burlap in. Kind of straighten it out a little bit, scrunch it over. So you can see how we are starting to shape up here. And I'm gonna do the bottom. Push the burlap in. You can see I'm just pulling it through here until I get both sides of my burlap in, and then pushing it over. So now I have 3 poofs of burlap. Let me move that out of your way. 3 poofs of burlap. There is room to do 3 of these poofs in each little cross section of your wreath frame. If you do that, you're gonna have a super tight, super tight wreath. That's fine if that's the look you want. If you want it to be a little more loose, a little more fluffy, I suggest doing 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2. So I'm just going to keep working around. When you have finished off the first row, you want to take your burlap and just give it a little twist before you start your next row. The reason for this is just so that it stays secure in here. It doesn't start popping out. If you give it that little twist, it'll stay in its spot. So I've come up to the top again, pulled in my first row. Okay, now you don't have to sort as you go, but I am very OCD about things, so I want to pull out all of my burlap as I go. Okay, here's my second row. Okay, I've got all of that in. Just gonna fluff it out, push it to the side, and get my third row. Pull it in. Make sure y'all can see all this. Fluff it out, push it over. Now you see, there is room for this third one here, but if I wanted a looser looking wreath, I could just have these 2 and I would be just fine. But I am gonna push it over and put the third one in at the top. So I'm gonna twist my burlap, move that back out of my way, and start with my third row of poofs. Come here, you. Poof 1. Poof 2. And poof 3. Okay, and so once you get the hang of this, it will start to go much quicker, and you'll be able to finish out and fluff up your wreath pretty quickly. So there is the first one, the first little section of wreath. Now this one, I'm only gonna do 2 because this is looking a little tight for my liking. But I mean, it is up to you. If you wanna do 3 poofs in each cross section all the way around, go for it. When you move over to the next cross section, you just twist like you did before. Just give your burlap a little twist and start again. All right, I'm gonna speed this up because I don't think y'all wanna watch me work through this whole thing and talk through this whole thing. So when I get back to my last one over here, I will come back and I will tell you how I secure it and finish it off at the end. Okay, so I have made it almost all the way around my wreath. I just have this last little section to do, and I kept doing 3 poofs, 2 poofs, 3 poofs, 2 poofs, 3 poofs. So this little section is only going to get 2 rows of poofs. So let me put these in. Okay, is this going to be in view for y'all? Yeah. come here. Okay. I know y'all are having a hard time seeing it. Sorry. Okay. All right, one more row of poofs. And we will be done. I don't have enough for one more row. I got a little liberal on this. That's okay. I am going to make this work. If you get close to the end, you can just take your last little thing. Now, if you're not close to the end, this hack isn't going to work. But if you are close to the end, you can take your last little bit and put it through the middle to make one last poof. And get all of it in there. Okay, so I have one last poof, and it's just in the middle. I don't have it in the bottom or the top, it's just in the middle. And then I'm going to take the back of it, and this is just like we did at the beginning. I'm going to cinch it up to where I've got all my layers together. I'm going to grab a zip tie, put it through all the layers, and secure it to my wreath frame. And right here, you don't want to secure this to one of the crossbars. You just want to secure it. You don't want to secure it to one of these top bars here. You just want to secure it to the frame so that you can move it around where you want it. And the reason it's going to be okay if you run a little short at the end is because this is where we're going to put the bow. So the bow will cover up the lack of burlap. Okay, so the end has this little kind of empty spot, but that's okay because we're going to put the bow there. But as you can see, the rest of this is perfectly full and good to go, and I probably made it a little too full. I wasn't trying to be precise with anything. I was just sticking loops through and going because I was trying to get this made quickly for you guys. Okay. Sorry, I can't not fix sections as I go. Can't not do it. Okay, now it's time for the bow. So here is the ribbon I have chose to do the bow with. And this bow is just going to be a classic, not fancy or anything, just a classic pretty bow. Sorry about that. The neighbors came and knocked on the door and wanted to play with my son, so I had to stop. Okay, let's do this again. Here's the ribbon. It's folded in half. Okay. So I'm gonna fold in, turn over. Okay. Cinch it together in the middle and start pulling your tails out. Now right now the bow is too big. So I'm going to pull a little on this tail to shorten this side. Okay, that side got shorter. Now I'm going to pull on this tail to shorten this side. That side got shorter. Okay, see I'm just holding it in my hand here, and I'm adjusting the tails to get the bow length where I want it to be. And that actually looks pretty good. I want to show you one more time just so you're all good and you feel like you can do it. Take your big length of ribbon, fold it over this way, from right to left, fold it from left to right, flip it over. Find the middle, cinch it up. And just kind of hold a loose hold on it. I just have these two fingers around it. I'm going to take this ribbon here And I'm gonna start pulling on it to shorten this tail. Okay, it got short enough. So I'm gonna take this other one, it was buried up in there, and I'm gonna pull on it to shorten my other side of my bow. And if you have a loose enough grip, you can do this with no issues. You just pull and adjust until you get your bow looking how you want it to be. That looks pretty good. Okay, so, okay. I'm gonna make each side just a smidgy bit shorter, just for my personal preference. Okay, so that's gonna be my bow. Gonna get a zip tie and secure this together. Come here, you. You shouldn't have this much trouble with your zip tie. I don't know why mine doesn't want to go. There we go. Thank you, zip tie. Okay, don't put it super, super tight because you still have some work to do on your bow. You need to get your tails right side up. Okay, so this tail is upside down. I'm just gonna come in here and flip it over. Okay. And then this one managed to right side itself somehow. Not really sure how. Okay, so now my tails are right side up and my bow is the size I want it to be, but it's not done. Okay, let me snip this little zip tie off. Actually, let me try to tighten it down a little bit more. Okay. If this guy wants to turn back over, don't worry about it. We've got another layer that's going to hold all of this together. We've got another layer that we're going to put on here and it'll help us to flip this one over. So don't worry about that. Speaking of the other layer, get some more of your ribbon, pull it out and just kind of cut some off. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to fold and fold. Is that out of view for y'all? Here's the ribbon. We're going to fold and fold. Okay, but these you don't have to overlap. This is going to be the center. So we're just going to take this, we're going to put it right on top of that. You see how that's going to stack up? It's going to be really pretty. Okay, so for your top layer, cut your ribbon and just make a circle out of it. And however overlapped or not overlapped this is dependent on how big you want this section of bow to be. If I overlap it a whole lot and I cinch it together, it's pretty little. If I overlap it just a tiny bit and I cinch it together, it gets bigger. Okay. Get your zip tie ready. This is where you can come in and flip this bottom one again because you're gonna zip tie more. You are really, really just a stubborn one, aren't you? Turn yourself over. Okay, there. I got him. He turned over, and yours will too. You just have to mess with it. Okay. Now here's my top bow. I know I'm out of frame, I'm sorry. Okay, So I've cinched together my top bow just like I showed you. I've got my bottom bow with this layer turned over. I'm gonna put this guy on. Let me zip tie him. Zip tying this bow. I don't know why I'm having this trouble with the zip ties today. But I am. Okay, we cut that off. All right. So now we have bow on top of bow with two right side up tails. But we have these zip ties that we don't want anyone to see. So that's when we take the extra bit of ribbon. This isn't quite long enough. I had cut this earlier. Maybe it's long enough. Yeah, okay. So we take the extra bit of ribbon and we put it across the middle. So I just had this extra piece, and what I did was fold it in this way and in this way to make a prettier and then I wrapped it around the middle. So this bow, I'm gonna hot glue that. This bow is gonna go right down here. Let me get my hot glue plugged in. Okay, while I'm waiting on my hot glue to heat up, I'll show you what we're doing with these guys. So I'm just gonna cut some of these off with my wire snippers. Okay, I've got two black, let me get two white. Whoops, a little ball fell off. I didn't want you to fall off. Oh well. Okay. And I don't need the rest of that. I'm just gonna use these guys. Okay, I think my glue gun should be somewhat warm enough now that we can finish putting our bow together. So here's the part we folded. Just gonna lay it across the middle. Come over here to the back. Okay, so I've got it put down here. I'm gonna put some glue on it. Whoop. And put the other side on top of the glue. And try not to burn myself. Okay, see I've got that glued together there. It's a pretty big dot of glue. I'm gonna add a little extra to make sure this really stays on. Okay. I want something to kind of, I'll use the end of this. Just want to kind of push this glue down so it gets in all the fibers of the burlap ribbon. That's going to be good. Okay. So that's all glued together and our bow's done. We're going to let it dry. We've clipped off our little pieces that we're going to put on. So here's our ribbon, or our wreath. Let me clip off this extra bit of zip tie. Okay, so I need to decide if I want this bow at the top or if I want it kind of on the side. Oh, that's the winner. It's going to be on the side. Okay, so this is where my bow is going to go. So I'm going to take these guys and I'm just going to kind of place them in on either side. And I'm going to glue these in. But right now I'm just kind of getting an idea of where I want them to be. So that's what it's going to look like when it's all done. I think I want the bow to be a little more tilted though, so maybe like that. Okay, yeah. Now to attach all of this, you can get larger zip ties or you can glue everything. It's up to you. I am going to do both. I'm going to zip tie a little bit of the bow to the burlap on the wreath, and I'm going to glue it. So I've got some more zip ties. Turn my wreath upside down. Nope, don't want to turn it upside down. Okay, I have found just the back layer of my bow. I'm going to put my zip tie through it, and then I'm going to put it through a little piece of the burlap, and I'm just going to tie it together, zip it up, cut off my excess, do the same on the other side. Oh no, it wasn't exactly where I wanted it. Let me see. Yeah, that'll be good. Okay, so I'm going to take the back of this. Where'd my zip tie go? Put my zip tie through it. Find a little piece of burlap to put my zip tie through. So y'all see it's through the back of the bow and through just a little piece of burlap. I'm going to zip it down and cut off the excess. Okay, now my bow is on there. It's not going to be falling off. It's not going to be going anywhere. I don't know if I want to glue it or not. You know, I think that's on good enough. I don't think that needs to be glued. I don't know, maybe it does. Who knows? Whatever, I'm going to put these other things on first. These do have to be glued, these little pieces. So you decide where you want them. Let's see. I am going to glue this bow on. It keeps popping up and bothering me. So I'm just putting glue all over the back of it and sticking it down. There. Now it's going to stay stuck down and it's not going to bother me. Okay. These guys. It's really just up to you where you want to put stuff. You can't see that. You know what? Design as you go. I think I might just do them only at the top of the bow. Yeah, that'll be good. Okay. And they were already starting to stick into the glue for the ribbon. Well, yeah, I'll just go with that then. So I have them stuck in here. This is where I had hot glued the bow on, and they just happen to be stuck into it, so I'm going to work with that already. Okay. And to secure them, I'm just going to take my hot glue and drop it down in there on them. My cord isn't long enough here. Sorry, I know my head was in your way. So what I did was put a ton of hot glue behind all these beads and the ribbon, and then when you push it together, the glue will just melt into place. And hold it there for a minute and get rid of some of my little extra wispies. Okay. This wreath is all done. It's hard to see. Let me see if I can move my camera some for you. That's a little bit better. So there it is. And I promise this will only take you about 20 minutes to do. It's just that I had slowed down a lot on that bow so I could do it a few different times to make sure you really got the hang of how to put together that bow so that it ends up looking really awesome on your wreath. To hang it, you just want to get a little piece of twine or a little piece of ribbon and tie up to here so that you have a hanger for your wreath. All right, guys, we'll see you next time.